Albert Einstein finding opportunity amid difficulty. He left the winter of Germany. His heart was summer, but reality was winter. Amidst the blizzard of the era's madness, cold prejudice, and the life-threatening storm of ideology, he quietly packed his bag. At a train station with no one to see him off, he took only a single notebook and 3 letters. He left behind family photos because he could carry them in his heart. Love was not a burden, it was wings. He was Albert Einstein, already a world-renowned physicist, a Nobel laureate, and a recipient of countless accolades and honors. Yet, the title he valued most was just one: refugee. His homeland was no longer his. He was Jewish, and the Nazis had defined Jews as enemies. He was a scholar, and the Nazis viewed scholarship as dangerous ideology. He was a speaker, and the Nazis demanded silence. He followed truth, and the Nazis sought to control it. So, he had no choice but to leave. As if being sucked into a vast vacuum, he left behind everything he cherished, and walked a path from which he could never return. But that journey was not merely an escape. It was a departure toward another possibility. People often say, "See opportunity in adversity," but that phrase is too easy. From a distance, every trial seems like a drama, and pain appears as a lesson. But for those experiencing it up close, everything is merely survival. It was the same for Einstein. He had to live, to survive, and to speak instead of remaining silent. Words might not save a person, but they can protect one. Even after he sought refuge in America, the world was not easy. A new language, new culture, new politics, new fears. People were wary of him, and some tried to exploit him. Yet, he stood firm. Like a scientist studying black holes, he tried to extract opportunity from the center of despair. The words he left behind were simple: "In the middle of difficulty lies opportunity." He threw these words into the world. Many nodded, and some changed their minds, but only a few truly understood their meaning. These words were not language of positivity, but a record of desperation. Even in the moment life shatters, they were the most primal cry of human will to grasp something. It's better to end the introduction with a question. What difficulty are you facing now? Are you collapsing, or are you holding on? Are you running away, or are you walking in search of possibility? Life does not give answers, but some words provide direction. Today, we will follow those words. The phrase about seeing opportunity in adversity, why it's not just simple comfort, but a survival skill. How people have turned despair into opportunity, and why you can do the same. You will discuss slowly, deeply, and persistently. In the middle of difficulty lies opportunity. This sentence is not just a word of encouragement. It is an insight into life, a declaration about pain, and a critical proposal about opportunity. This sentence is divided into 3 parts. First, in the middle of difficulty, the heart of adversity. Second, lies is placed, is hidden. Third, opportunity. The structure woven by these 3 words is not just a simple sentence, but a life journey. What is difficulty? It is not just discomfort. Difficulty is a situation that threatens human existence. Economic poverty, illness, loneliness, loss, failure, anxiety, betrayal, frustrational. These are difficulties. The difficulty Einstein spoke of was not merely unpleasant emotions. It was an existential crisis. He faced death threats under Nazi persecution and confronted a situation where both his scholarship and life were denied. For him, difficulty was truly the boundary between life and death. Next, let's look at the word middle. It's not just a position. This word includes the meaning of the peak of pain. When pain begins, we resist and avoid it. When pain ends, we resign or accept it. But the middle of pain is the hardest point to endure. It's the moment of wavering, the time when we want to give up, and the peak of despair when we feel no one understands us. Einstein tells us to find opportunity not at the end, but in this middle. Why? The answer lies in lies. Opportunity is not just placed there, it is hidden. The word lies not only means to be located, but also to lie. This is not a coincidence. Einstein's sentence has a double meaning. Opportunity exists at the center of difficulty, but at the same time, difficulty lies about opportunity. In other words, difficulty whispers to us, "You're finished, you fail, you can never rise again." But that's not the truth. It's an illusion created by pain, a fantasy created by anxiety. The truth is the opposite. Within it, opportunity is hidden. And finally, opportunity. This word does not just mean a good chance. Its Latin origin, opportunus, meant the wind that brings into the harbor. In other words, opportunity means favorable wind, a wind that can reach the harbor, even in a storm, even in a sea shaken by waves. Some direction of wind can lead us to the harbor. This is not a coincidence. Einstein's opportunity was a route visible only to the prepared. No matter how strong the wind blows, if you don't raise the sail, the ship cannot move forward. Let's rephrase this sentence. Pain lies at its center. The truth called opportunity is hidden. Or, life disguises crisis as opportunity, but we often throw it away without unwrapping it. Or, at the moment that looks like death, life begins again. This is the essence of Einstein's sentence. He was a scientist, but in this sentence, he was a poet. He did not explain life with logic. He interpreted life with insight. So how can we apply this sentence to our lives? First, when pain comes, we must remember that it lies. We often think, this is the end. But that's the voice of emotion, not truth. Second, we need the courage to endure the middle of pain. The beginning of pain is fearful, and the end is vain. But the middle is the time when possibility is still alive. Third, opportunity is invisible. It is hidden. Therefore, we need to practice feeling with our eyes closed. Through intuition, senses, and belief, we must be able to find light in the darkness. Einstein's life was a proof of this sentence. Amid countless persecutions and rejections, he began new research, warned of the dangers of nuclear weapons, and appealed for world peace. In the many difficulties he experienced, he always discovered new opportunity. And that was his greatness. This sentence has now become a question posed to you. What was the greatest difficulty in your life? And at its center, what did you see? The real opportunity is not outside, but depends on your interpretation. If you choose despair, it's the end. But if you change your interpretation, it's the beginning. Einstein did not just explain the truth of the universe in the language of science. He whispered the truth of life in human language. And now, that truth lies before you. How you extract it from the midst of pain, whether it becomes an opportunity in your life or just another painful memory, is entirely your choice. We ask, why do humans suffer? Why is it that we can only attain certain things through experiences of failure, despair, frustration, and fear? Why is opportunity always hidden in such dark places? This is not merely a psychological inquiry. It is a philosophical question about the essence of human existence. Numerous philosophers have offered their own answers to this question. One sentence by Einstein encapsulates all these philosophical contemplations. Nietzsche said, "Only great pain, the long, slow pain that takes its time, compels us to descend to our ultimate depths. I doubt that such pain makes us better, but I know it makes us more profound." He defined human existence as one that overcomes. Humans do not simply accept given conditions. They deconstruct pain, assign meaning to it, and transform it into a springboard for advancement. In Nietzsche's theory, pain is not merely evil. It is a process of reconstructing meaning, and, ultimately, a space for realizing will. Einstein's sentence aligns with this Nietzschean perspective. The assertion that opportunity is hidden at the center of pain suggests that pain can indeed be a source of creation. Meanwhile, Heidegger described human existence as being into world, Dasein, and stated that humans are fundamentally in anxiety. Anxiety is not just an emotion, but a fundamental state of being. We feel anxiety because we are free. We can choose, we must take responsibility, and we must create meaning. Therefore, pain and difficulty prompt humans to become aware of their existence. Einstein's words are not merely about a positive mindset. They speak to the unique human ability to endure existential anxiety and construct the meaning of opportunity within it. Sartre's existentialism is even more explicit. He said, "Existence precedes essence. We exist first, and only then do we create meaning. At birth, we have no reason or purpose. Life is the act of assigning meaning to a meaningless world. And in that process, pain is inevitable, because creating meaning always involves dismantling existing orders. The presence of difficulty indicates that our previous beliefs, safety, and order have collapsed. However, this very collapse creates a void space where new meaning can be generated. From Sartre's perspective, Einstein's opportunity is the act of casting meaning into that space of meaninglessness. Spinoza accepts even pain as part of necessity. He said, "All things happen necessarily. Therefore, pain does not come by chance. It is an event included in the order of the universe, and our rejection of it is the true cause of pain." Einstein's opportunity connects with this Spinozist thought. Pain is unavoidable. However, when we do not resist it and accept the hidden order within it, we can transform it into an opportunity. Buddhist philosophy is also deeply related to this sentence. Pain, dukkha, is the essence of life, but it can end. The method is to let go of attachment and be awake in the present moment. Buddhism suggests a path to gain wisdom by observing pain in the here and now. Seeing opportunity at the center of difficulty means having the courage to face the present moment as it is, because today's pain is the gateway to enlightenment. Wittgenstein had a unique perspective on pain. He said, "What we cannot speak about we must pass over in silence." Pain is often an event beyond language. However, Einstein's sentence breaks through this linguistic barrier. He speaks of pain, and he does so in just 4 words. Wittgenstein might have nodded in agreement. This sentence speaks of pain without attempting to explain it. It simply points to look at the center of pain, to see that something is placed there. That is the power of philosophy. Not to explain, but to make one see. Ultimately, all these philosophies converge on one conclusion. Humans cannot avoid pain, but humans can interpret pain, and the way we interpret it determines our destiny. Einstein's sentence suggests the direction of that interpretation. Difficulty is not just a problem, but a door. Depending on whether we pass through it or reject it, life changes completely. Therefore, we should not consume this sentence merely as a comforting phrase, but accept it as a philosophical challenge. What pain are you experiencing now? Are you viewing that pain only as a problem, or can you see it as a door? Do you have the courage to open that door and enter? Do you believe that an opportunity is placed there? Through philosophy, we learn how to think, and this one sentence from Einstein poses a question to us. What do you think is hidden at the center of the pain you are experiencing now? There was a man. He was born in Germany and raised as a Jew. He loved scholarship and sought to understand the world through mathematics. But the violence of the Nazis trampled his life. He was separated from his family, and at the point where scholarship, survival, and everything else collapsed, he made a choice. Exile, in other words, abandoning everything to survive. That man's name was John von Neumann, known today as the father of computer science. He escaped Nazi persecution to the United States and later participated in the Los Alamos Project, opening the door to the modern technological revolution. His life is a representative example of creating new opportunities in the midst of pain. Just as Einstein said, another figure is Helen Keller. At 2 months old, she lost both sight and hearing due to illness. A life without light or sound made it difficult for her to feel even human dignity. But her life changed when she met her teacher, Anne Sullivan. She learned language, wrote, gave speeches, and traveled the world, advocating for education and equality. Though she was in the center of despair, she found opportunity within it and became a symbol of hope for tens of millions worldwide. What about Nelson Mandela? He opposed South Africa's apartheid system and was imprisoned for 2 years. 27 years is the most decisive time in a person's life. He could have lost everything: humanity, beliefs, hope, health, but he reflected within it. He read books in prison, contemplated, and learned the way of forgiveness. He chose reconciliation over revenge, and, after being released, embraced the entire nation as president. From the center of difficulty called prison, he drew out the opportunity to change a nation. We cannot omit the story of Malala Yousafzai. born in a Taliban-controlled region of Pakistan. Malala was shot while advocating for girls' right to education. A bullet lodged in her head, and her chances of survival were slim. But she miraculously survived, began speaking again, gave speeches on the world stage, and received the Nobel Peace Prize. For her, the bullet was death, but also voice. From the center of pain, Malala revived the opportunity for girls worldwide. And now, we return to Albert Einstein. His life itself was proof of this quote. He fled to the United States due to Nazi persecution, and continued his scholarship in a new environment with a new language. He went beyond physics to deliver philosophical messages about human peace and morality, and he warned humanity about the consequences of nuclear weapons. From the Manhattan Project, if he had stayed in Germany, today's science might not exist. He found understanding amid persecution, creation in despair, and speech in silence. All these individuals share one commonality. They did not see opportunity after pain ended, but found it within pain. That is the true essence of this quote. They did not grow because pain disappeared, but because they chose to see differently within pain. They remained in pain, but developed the strength to interpret it from a different angle. That is the remarkable capability of human existence. These cases pose a question to us. What pain are you experiencing now? It could be unemployment, the breakdown of a relationship, illness, or it could be confusion about identity, social stigma, or fear of the future. What do you see at the center of it? Do you see nothing? If so, that might be the very place of opportunity. Because opportunity always exists in a hidden state. We do not find it, we interpret it. At that moment, we can reconstruct pain, create meaning, and walk toward a new world. Now, we must go beyond accepting Einstein's words as merely a philosopher's declaration or a historical figure's reflection. This sentence is no longer a product of the past, but a practical principle applicable to everyone living today. It is a business strategy, personal resilience, community survival skill, educational direction, and a method of reconstructing human relationships. From now on, we will specifically examine how this quote is actively functioning in each of these areas. Let's start with personal life. We encounter small failures every day. Work results may fall short of expectations. We may get hurt in relationships, face health issues, or be gripped by anxiety about the future. Most people instinctively adopt a victim stance in such situations. Why is this happening to me? But those who internalize Einstein's quote change the question. What is this event telling me? This shift in questioning changes life. The same event may remain a wound for some and become a stepping stone for others. The difference lies not in the event, but in the interpretation. This principle connects with the psychological concept of cognitive restructuring. Humans do not experience reality as it is, but create reality through interpretation. Therefore, we must train ourselves not to change situations, but to change our perspective on situations. The starting point is to use the sentence, "Opportunity is hidden, even in difficulty," as a lens for life. In business management, this quote functions as a crisis management strategy. For example, the COVID-19 pandemic brought despair to many companies, but also became an opportunity for transformation. the spread of remote work, digital transformation, ESG management, and renewed awareness of psychological safety all emerged as opportunities from pain. Netflix transitioned to streaming services amid the crisis of DVD rentals disappearing, and Zoom became an essential platform worldwide. In just a few weeks, what these companies demonstrated was not mere agility, but a philosophical strength to convert crisis into opportunity. This principle is also absolute in education. Suppose a child fails a math test. Most schools view this situation as a failure, but applying this quote, that failure becomes an opportunity to change the direction of learning. Why didn't the child understand? What method of learning would truly help the child understand? Failure is data, and opportunity is interpretation. This mindset is the core of the growth mindset. As Dr. Carol Dweck of Stanford University stated, students who interpret the same failure as "I'm just not good at this" versus "this is an opportunity for me to learn better" have completely different life outcome. In situations of social conflict, this quote can serve as a compass. Complex issues like racism, gender inequality. When was the last time you truly felt broken? What did you lose then? What did you let go of? Or did you perhaps gain something from it? How has that experience shaped who you are today? We often regard the past as a wound to be erased. But perhaps that wound was a question we needed to interpret. What are you enduring now? Is it an external situation or internal turmoil? The pain may seem sudden, but could its roots lie in long-standing emotions and beliefs? Pain always carries clues and patterns. If you repeatedly face similar difficulties, could it be conveying a silent message? Are you listening to that message now? Life always asks, what are you seeing right now? As Einstein said, if opportunity lies at the heart of difficulty, are you seeing that opportunity now? Or are your eyes still clouded by wounds, fear, anger, and shame? What we choose to see can change the course of our lives, and what we wish to see becomes the true compass of life. Where are you looking now? What was the most significant turning point in your life? Was it a planned choice or an unexpected failure? If failure changed you, wasn't it because it was an opportunity in itself? Looking back on that moment, if you reinterpret it with today's perspective, what lessons can you extract from it? Do you have the vision to interpret someone's pain as an opportunity? Or is there someone around you who needs that perspective now? We often focus so much on our own problems that we miss the messages in others' eyes and silences. Pain often flows out wordlessly, and the only thing that can infuse the possibility of opportunity into that pain is the desire to understand. What kind of presence are you in the face of others' pain? Let's talk about the future. What is your greatest fear right now? Is it failure, rejection, loss, or change itself? Where did that fear come from? And within that fear, is there a long-desired but self-suppressed opportunity hiding? Do you have the courage to face that fear, or are you still avoiding it? Do you truly believe in this quote? Or do you want to believe it, but find it hard to apply in life? Why is that? Is it due to external circumstances, or a lack of inner conviction? Belief is not mere agreement. It is the courage to act based on that belief. What choices are you making now? Ask yourself, what is my greatest difficulty right now? And can I dare to imagine that there is an opportunity at its core? Imagination is the beginning, and the beginning creates change. The fact that this question has been posed in your life now means that change has already begun. Questions do not always presuppose answers. Rather, questions teach us how to think. Bring these questions into your daily life. Attach this question to every small pain of the day. Is there an opportunity here? 2. This single question changes your interpretation. Interpretation changes behavior, and behavior changes life. And when life changes, you can then pose this question to others. What are you seeing right now? Can a sentence change a life? It can, if that sentence is not just remembered, but repeatedly practiced and embedded in daily thinking and decisions. Seeing opportunity, even in difficulty, is such a sentence. Now we have confirmed the true power of these words and deeply understood their meaning. Now, only one thing remains: practice. Philosophy is not completed by knowing. Philosophy must be lived. The first strategy is reinterpreting the everyday. Every morning, as you start your day, develop the habit of asking yourself the following question: what is the biggest discomfort I might face today? And through that discomfort, what possibilities can I train? This question shifts the direction of consciousness. It transforms the instinct to avoid problems into an attitude of examining them. This habit rewires the brain's circuits, and by repeating this question for just 30 days, you will gain a new perspective on everyday life. The second strategy is pain observation journal. At the end of each day, write down the most challenging moment of the day. Then, reconstruct that moment, not in emotional language, but in possibility language. For example, change the sentence: I felt hurt because my boss ignored me today, to today, I encounter an opportunity to learn how to maintain my sense of presence. This kind of writing is called cognitive reframing training. The more it is repeated, the more the quality of emotions changes, the structure of thoughts alters, and choices become possible instead of reactions. The third strategy is failure meditation. For just minutes a day, close your eyes and recall the most painful failure you've experienced. Feel that failure as it is, but this time, interpret it differently. What possibilities did that moment open up for me? What did I see more clearly through that failure? This training is a powerful psychological tool that transforms failure from a memory of fear into a memory of growth. The true power of this quote lies in rewriting the past. When the past changes, the future changes too. The fourth strategy is questioning within pain. When faced with a difficult situation, most people stop and shrink back. But you must ask questions at that moment. What is this situation trying to teach me? What part of my life is this event telling me to reorganize? What old emotions, habits, or thought patterns do I need to let go of now? These questions turn pain into a guide for change, a signal for internal reset. The fifth strategy is building an opportunity dictionary. Reflect on your life in 5-year intervals and list the major difficulties you face and the lessons you learned from them. Organize them like a dictionary. For example, 2011 failed University entrance discovered my true interests. 2016 unemployment realized my inner resilience. This structured data helps you retrieve patterns of opportunity when you face the next pain. Humans are strongest when they can learn from the past. The sixth strategy is becoming an opportunity sharer. When someone shares a difficult story, try to be the person who interprets that pain as an opportunity. Ask questions like, what new things do you think you learned from that situation? Could that event be telling you to change something in your life? A community with people who can ask such questions reduces pain and promotes recovery. Pain interpreted alone lasts long. Pain reconstructed together becomes shorter and stronger. Opportunities always grow within relationships. The seventh strategy is writing an opportunity declaration. Write down the greatest difficulty you are currently facing on a piece of paper, and below it, add the following sentence. This pain is not trying to break me, but is a signal to show me possibilities I haven't seen before. I will reinterpret this pain with a new perspective, and definitely find a turning point in my life within it. This declaration is not just words. It is a cognitive code that resets thinking and rearranges neural circuits. The more you repeat it, the more your brain begins to perceive crisis in the language of growth. Finally, the eighth strategy is creating an opportunity calendar. Set one challenge for yourself each month. For example, June, give honest feedback to the person I feared the most. July, retrieve something I previously failed at. August, attempt a conversation with someone who misunderstood me. This opportunity calendar is a practical tool for training to actively face pain instead of avoiding it. A person who faces one fear each month will stand in a completely different world after a year. He slowly looked out the window. 1933. An unfamiliar land in America. His body was alive, but his homeland no longer existed. Stepping off the train alone, he had only a few papers and handwritten letters in a tightly held leather bag. The past was left behind, and the future was unknown. Yet, he walked hesitantly, wavering, but without stopping. Albert Einstein. Before he was a physicist, he was a human, and he proved with his whole being what it means to be human. The single sentence he spoke, "In the middle of difficulty lies opportunity." This was not just a proverb, but a philosophy for survival, and a vow to live again. We all become exiles at certain moments in life. We flee from familiar emotions, are excluded from familiar relationships, and run away from the self we once knew. We must go to a new world, but when we don't know where to go, we stand at the train station of pain. At that moment, this sentence comes. See opportunity, even in difficulty. At the true center of pain lies another form of life. It is just invisible to those who close their eyes and wait. In life, we break countless times. Plans go awry. Love fades. Trust shatters. Bodies deteriorate. And hearts collapse. In all those moments, we mutter, "Why is this happening to me?" And that question gradually turns into, "Why should I live?" But that very question is the door. That question is life's final invitation to us. Are you ready to discard your previous interpretations? Do you have the will to rewrite this pain? It asks, and the moment we answer yes to that question, we create a path. Nothing has changed yet, But everything has already changed. When the mind changes, reality begins to move. Is the night still too long, and the bottom not visible? Then remember this: darkness does not exist to hide something, but to reveal something. You just haven't seen it yet. Pain hides, but at its center lies a hidden gift. Depending on your interpretation, it can become trash or a key. Life breaks us, but at the same time, life sculpts us. Pain is both breaking and carving, and in the carved place, the true self emerges. Einstein did not merely speak of physical laws. He taught the law of perspective. Events cannot be changed, but interpretations can. And when interpretations change, emotions change. When emotions change, choices change. And when choices change, life changes completely. So remember, only those who rename pain can change the direction of life. He wrote letters of hope until the end. He believed in humanity over science and solidarity over logic. He said, if someone saw light, even in the darkest moment, you can too. And now, that light is in your hands. It is the freedom to interpret, the responsibility to choose, and the eyes to see opportunity. Today, I leave you with a question. Will you live as someone who remembers this quote, or will you exist as someone who lives it out? The choice is yours, and that choice can change not just today, but your entire life. Opportunity is not far away. It is within you. Reading this sentence right now, you are the opportunity. So rise, walk again, even if you don't know where the next station is. Walk with pain, with questions, and with the hope of opportunity. Einstein showed us the way. Now, it's your turn to leave footprints on that path. Having read this entire piece, what do you feel?